The highly anticipated release of Minswap V2, Cardano's largest DEX, is officially here, bringing forth a 10x increase in total throughput, adding brand new order types, as well as making the platform more composable and secure. There's a lot to take a look around. Now, that said, as a part of today's video, I'm sitting down with one of the three founders of the actual Minswap protocol, Long, as well as Ramik, their head of growth strategy, to break down the recent release of V2, but then also talk about things such as the security, the liquidity migration, and what their expectations are for the year of 2024. That said, if you guys enjoyed today's content, again, please make sure to smash that thumbs up on the way in. If it's your first time stopping by and you want more content like this, breaking down everything going on in Cardano, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about Minswap V2 or anything else that might be on your mind, then make sure to leave a comment down below. That said, you guys enjoyed today's interview. What's up, Beta Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. As a part of today's video, we're talking about the highly anticipated release of Minswap V2. I'm going to be joined by one of three co-founders or founders of the Minswap protocol, and we're also going to be joined by one of their growth managers here. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring up today's guest as we dive into the biggest DEX here on Cardano getting a reboot. First and foremost, we've got Long. Long, welcome aboard. Good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting us. Super excited to be here. I
Yeah,
think it's our first time on the App Central, and super happy to be here.
no, the pleasure's mine. And it is your first time making an appearance here, but I've definitely covered Minswap here for quite a bit. You guys have been doing a lot of really hard work and it's finally beginning to pay off. And I'm excited to have you here to talk about V2. I know, again, that there's been a lot of time and effort that has been put into this brand new version of the protocol. And I want to break down everything that's going to be included as a part of this official launch. Next, we've got the growth and strategy manager here, Ramik. Welcome up, man. How are you?
Hello, Fareed. I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm glad you let us sit in here and talk about Minswap V2. So thank you so much for that. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Just kicked off my morning and ready to
Mm-hmm.
get into some content creation. So I've actually got the easy part of today's interview. I'm just going to be asking some questions, listening, and sitting back here. You guys have the hard part, which is answering and providing some value to the community. That said, and all jokes aside, again, I want to thank the both of you guys for joining me. I typically like to kick off these interviews by discussing, or at least getting a little bit of background from each of the guests that we've got upstage. So Long, I believe we'll go ahead and start with you first, and then we'll go over to Ramik just to get an understanding of your background and how exactly you've come into the Cardano space. Again, building the biggest DEX right now in Cardano.
That's a good question. So we have been building on Cardano for more than 3 years. So we first started as a catalyst proposal. We have been consistently one of the biggest DEX on Cardano in terms of TVL and volume. And after Bluetooth V2 came out, we have decided to implement the Minswap V2 on Bluetooth V2, and we keep have lots of feature and a brand new interface.
Perfect. Ramik, maybe over to you for a brief intro and a little bit of background about yourself.
Thank you. So to give myself a brief intro, I've been doing growth related marketing for the last 6 years, and for the last 3 years, I have niched down to Cardano DeFi, RWAs, and stablecoins in particular. Uh, in the last decade, my best part spent has been with projects like Algorand, Near, Protocol, Curve, Rarible, and to help them build a better, more decentralized future. So it's been a ride in crypto market, and especially when I came into Cardano more so. And now I have met so many amazing people, and now I'm doing growth for Minswap, one of the leading dexes in Cardano. And I really am intrigued by the story, by how Long and the other two people founded Minswap, and here it is standing as one of the most, in terms of every metric you could think, community support, metrics as in TVL, volume, the number one DEX in Cardano. And our goal together is to retain that and bring more and beyond.
Nicely said. Now, there's been a couple of topics here that have happened, or a couple events that have happened here that I want to jump into, but I want to go in chronological order, if at all possible. So let's maybe talk about the recent release of the public beta, or the testnet, right? So this was done, I want to say, about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. This was early June-ish, where you guys basically announced that, for closed group of testers, they'd be able to get early access to V2. I'd love to hear from the both of you, Long and Ramik, as to how that went. What sort of feedback did you guys get from the community? And were there any issues at all that you guys had to, kind of patch during the testnet review or the testnet test process?
Yeah, sure. So our testnet is pretty complete by the end of May, but we have decided to invite a selected group of people. So those are the close community, community manager, the OG of the community, and previous beta tester into the private testnet, and we have gathered a lot of feedbacks. I think more than 100 feedbacks, and the team has tried on that, has reviewed the feedback and incorporate that into the evaluations to make it as fluid as possible on launch. And after 3 weeks of private testnet, we opened the public testnet to everyone.
Perfect. And, were there any issues? What was sort of the feedback from the community? Were they happy? Were they anxious? What was sort of the sentiment around the testnet itself?
So I'll take on this one because I have a very fun fact to say. So we, as Long said earlier, we had like 100-ish beta testers basically from all over the kind of things, like OZs and previous beta testers who provided us with fantastic feedback. Uh, we had like 100-ish beta testers, and they all provided like dozens of feedbacks each. The best part about that was, for a development team, like 95% of all those feedback were to be fixed in less than 5 minutes by the development team. So like it would take only 5 minutes for development team to fix more than 95% of the feedback or the feature request that was provided by those beta testers.
Yeah. So that's
And speaking,
no, go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
Finish. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, speaking on how beta testers felt about that, they were super amazed and intrigued by, and also very excited with the launch for the actual launch of V2. As far as I knew, they started the posting about V2 by themselves on Twitter, so that alone describes, and not just in like V2 is coming sort of hyper posts, but like in very detail, like all the different things they noticed in V2, how they think V2 is gonna change the landscape, or how V2 is gonna be better than V1, and in terms of what. So I really love that fact, and they did definitely suggest us like different types of features, and we have integrated for the most part all of it.
Nicely summarized. That was an interesting fact, right? The fact that you guys are able to basically fix the majority of all issues or all of the feature requests within 5 minutes. What that tells me is that a lot of the heavy lifting was done correctly the first time, to where anything that did need to be changed was either minor or surface level, right? So again, you guys have built up a reputation for a seamless and a very simple user interface, and basically a platform that, anybody who jumps on to Cardano for the first time, it's very intuitive, right? So there's not a lot of clutter, and it's a very, very easy to understand platform. So I personally have seen V2 in. I tend to think that it matches V1 in terms of the UI UX. And I'm excited to see again what you guys are able to do to really take Minswap to the next level, in addition to what you guys have already mentioned, which include, faster throughput, better security, etc. Now let's talk a little bit more about the mainnet launch now, right? So now that the testnet is done, the beta testers are wrapped up, the testnet is open to the public. We're now anticipating the mainnet launch, which should be, I believe, on July 10th. From an expectation standpoint, Long, I'd love to hear, about what you're looking forward to, and then what happens after mainnet launch.
Yeah, so after mainnet launch, I think the first step and the first thing that going to happen is liquidity migration. And in the first week of the mainnet launch, the liquidity will be migrated to V2. So so the trading will not be as smooth. Like we will not have like the deepest liquidity possible, because like half the liquidity is on V1 and half the liquidity on V2. But after the first week, I anticipate that most of the liquidity will be migrated to V2, and the trading will all happen on V2, and it will and people can leverage like the best feature of V2, like 10x speed and advanced order type.
And if I could also maybe just quickly ask from an end user's perspective, let's say I've got liquidity in V1 after the V2 version is released, do I as a user actually need to do anything to support the migration, or is that something that Minswap is doing all of the work for already?
So the migration cannot be triggered by us, because only the LP token holder can withdraw the liquidity. That is the basic principle of the smart contract. So there are two ways you can migrate liquidity. The first way is manually by withdrawing on V1 and then deposit the new token on V2 pool. The second way is automatic, but Minswap has to act as a middleman. So you have to like say a custody wallet in the middle of the automatic transaction, and you have to trust Minswap. So it depends on your trust, the risk tolerance, and your need for convenience to either choose the manual or the automatic one.
Okay, and as a just quick follow up here regarding the migration again, are there any incentives to, you know, make moving a little bit easier, right? Because again, you're as the builder of this product, you want to get as many people into V2 as quickly as possible. What are you doing to make sure that people understand that they actually need to move liquidity and that it's not going to happen automatically?
This is a good question. So I think the first incentive is that most pool on V2 are going to have higher fee than V1. So the LP are going to earn more from the trading fee. Secondly, the yield farming incentive. So for this, we are following a phasing approach. So the first 2 weeks, we keep distributing the farming reward to both V1 and V2 pool equally. Every like twice a day, we will take a snapshot, and we will adjust the unlock point between V1 and V2 pool according to the TVL ratio. So for example, if you migrate a lot of liquidity into V2 pool, then the V2 farm will have less reward. But like at the snapshot time, the system will look at the two pool of V1 and V2, and it will adjust the unlock point to fit the TVL ratio. And the unlock point ratio will be 1:1, which means the reward distributed equally between V1 and V2 pool. However, the third and the fourth week, the reward will be double on V2. So the ratio will be 1 to 2. The V2 will have double the reward of V1. This is to incentivize people to move more liquidity into V2. And after the first month, all reward will only be distributed on V2 pool.
Got it. So I think sooner rather than later, people will realize, hey, I'm no longer getting the rewards that I was getting on V1. Therefore, I probably need to see exactly what's going on. And that's probably when they figure out, hey, I need to move over into V2. That said, Ramik, from your perspective, right, you're dealing with growth and sort of kind of just getting the word out there, trying to build the platform, get as many users on Minswap V2 as possible. What's on your plate? What's your focus following the actual mainnet launch?
So you see, like there has been a Cardano DeFi V2.0, something that kind of narrative in Cardano DeFi landscape. So we have had a surge of Cardano DeFi previously, that was the 1.0. Now we have the Cardano DeFi V2 or the 2.0 thing. V2, according to me, 100% matches or aligns with the Cardano 2.0, Cardano DeFi 2.0 narrative, because V2 is designed to be superior in three key aspects. One is speed, two is decentralization, and three is efficiency. And let's not forget the tons of features that has been integrated. And to really sum it up, it may sound cliched, but I really like to say V2 is for the traders, by the traders. Because after all, what we have done is we have interviewed with 990 traders. Don't take the number, it's just a random number placeholder to give you an estimate of how many people we talked to. And we've collected feedback from those many traders, and then we integrated we had discussions with our development teams, and we built this whole V2 with like tons of features. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited about V2. And speaking past V2, the one thing that I really look forward to personally is dynamic fees. It's a very it's also a little bit twisting concept, as in it's tough to handle, but it's very interesting concept.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I
Go
would
ahead.
also like to add more that on V2. On V2 we cater to both traders and LP. So for the trader, we have the auto routing, have a 10x speed, or have the advanced order type, and for the LP, we present them with a dynamic fee. So there are many layers of dynamic fee on V2. So the first layer you will see probably the pool can have the pool like on launch you will see that most pool will have higher fee than V1. And after 2 weeks to 1 month, we will launch the LP free voting portal. And in that portal, LP they can vote for the fee they want with the pool, and they can directly influence the fee of the pool proportionate to their voting power. Their voting power is their LP share of the pool. So with that, the LP will be in control of like how much fee they want the pool to charge the trade to charge. So that will help a lot with impermanent loss. And the second layer of dynamic fee, which we are in active research, we have two Medium article about it, two part about it. It's called the dynamic. It's called the dynamic fee based on volatility and history, and there are like a lot of fancy algorithm about that, and it's in active research and it's very close to the production.
One thing I want to do is just quickly plug in the Medium articles here, as Long just mentioned. If you guys want to find out more about the Minswap dynamic fees, I'll leave the link to their Medium down below. Very informative. They break literally everything down to a T and leave nothing unturned. So you've got all the mathematical equations there. You've got some of their research and insights there. And they talk a little bit about some different use cases and how you can basically manage your fees. So I do want to quickly go ahead and just plug that in here for the viewers if they are interested in finding out more about the dynamic fees and just everything when it comes to Minswap. Now, let's go ahead and just shift the conversation. Go ahead.
Just really quickly wanted to add in there the best part about that series of articles, Dynamic Fees Part 1 and Dynamic Fees Part 2, is that it is written by our community members, actually, Marco and Elder. So it's not something that we have written, it's something that Marco, Elder put in their time and effort, because it's a very interesting, still developing use case that people are not yet exploring, but we are. So it's written by our community members, so that helps.
No, that's awesome. Shout out and thanks to them. I actually just had Pete on the channel, Chicken, and as well as Smurfy, right? They actually had some proposals put out by the Minswap DAO, and they basically came on as community members as well, you know, representing the Minswap team, really showing that you guys have built a massive community that's very invested and very involved and constantly contributing to Minswap's efforts. Now, that said, there's been a lot of new features, right, that have been announced for this brand new version of Minswap. That includes auto routing, right? We've got advanced order types. We've also got advanced order features like the fill or kill or order expirations. We've got updates to trading fees, as you guys have mentioned. We've got different sort of pool creation features and functions. I'd love to turn it over to the both of you guys to maybe just hear about like what you guys are most excited about, because again, there's such a big list here, you know, but what are you most excited about when it comes to Minswap V2?
I'd like to just quickly say, I particularly myself am very excited about auto routing. It's the number one feature in the Medium article, if you see, but it's the most interesting to me as well, because it's like an arbitrage. You are able to scour for the best prices in all over the pools without having to do anything, because the smart contract, it's called the smart order routing algorithm. This algorithm does everything for you, provides you with the best pricing the best rates, and all you have to do is just use V2, and that's it.
Yeah, nicely said. And again, check out the Medium articles. There is more information about auto routing and all of the other features there for you guys. Long, what are you most excited about when it comes to Minswap V2 and
Uh,
the new features?
yeah, I think obviously the throughput. So the throughput is like one of the biggest bottleneck, especially in high volume trading. But although there's a throughput, I'm also very excited about the advanced order type. It enables a lot of like strategized trading among the trader. So I can talk in more detail about each order type. So you have if you want to have the limit order, right? You can use the limit order to take profit or buy the dip. Um, in V2, we introduce the stop order, so you can do that for stop loss or stop entry. Stop loss is like basically when you have an asset and you want to sell it when the price go lower than a certain threshold. And the next is an OCO order. An OCO order is like a combination of like the limit order and the stop order. And in an OCO order, you can configure the order to take profit if the asset raise to a certain price, or like cut loss when the asset go down to a certain price. So it's like a double bracket. The third order is the partial fill order. So the partial fill order will make the limit order work like an order book limit order. So before in V1, the limit order will can only be filled or like cannot be filled at all. So sometimes some traders have a limit order on a not very deep pool, and the limit order is very difficult for the limit order to be filled because sometimes the pool reach the limit price, but the liquidity at that price is not big enough to fill the whole limit order. So user keep asking why my limit order is not filled even though the pool reach a certain price, because there's not enough liquidity at that price. So with the partial fill order, the order can be filled incrementally, like as long as the pool reach a certain price. So the partial fill order can be filled with just the liquidity at that price. So it make it easier for a big limit order to be fulfilled in a not very big pool, and it works like an order more like an order book limit order. So that is the use case for the partial fill order. And you can also have some option for when you create an order. You can have option called fill or kill. When you choose fill or kill, the order will automatically return to the order creator if it is out slippage. So it will work like Ethereum, like EVM DEX, where if an order doesn't reach, like if an order price is out of range, then it will automatically go back to the trader instead of becoming a limit order. The second option is expiry time. So if order reach an expiry time, it will be automatically be cancelled by an option agent.
Got it. Got it. Got
100%.
it.
And just to add a little bit for my LP friends, for our LP friends, we have something called Zap in and Zap out. It is like, let's say there is a pair ADA min, and all you have is min tokens. You don't have ADA. So what you can do is you can just provide min, and and you just have to provide min basically. For LPs, remember, like we had to have both kind of assets, but now with this feature, Jap in, Jap out, all you have to have is one asset pair, and you can still provide liquidity.
Yeah,
That is
noted.
how.
I think from again a seamless or a user experience, right? It makes things easier to be able to participate as a liquidity provider, as opposed to having to then go hunt down another token or make swaps to get the necessary assets before you can actually deposit liquidity or LP. Now, I do have a personal video breaking down a lot of these features. I want to take an opportunity to just quickly plug that in here for the viewers. If you guys want to go ahead and find out more about all the features that are included in Minswap V2, go ahead and make sure to check out that video. I'll leave the link to it down below, where I break down everything that'll be coming out with this brand new DEX. Now let's talk about a couple more things here, and then we'll go ahead and get some closing thoughts and let you guys go. One thing that we haven't touched on, I think, is the security. I know there's been, I believe, multiple audits. Do you guys mind talking about what those audit findings were, if any, and the confidence that you guys have in the security of Minswap V2 because ultimately, right, users' funds are at stake here. And I know early on when Minswap initially launched, Wing Riders brought some things to your guys' attention, right? So I'd love to hear about how that's maybe kind of shaped your vision around security and what you guys have done with V2 to make sure that, there aren't any holes in the actual protocol.
Okay, so on for V1 launch, we found a vulnerability after launch, and that has like um, shaped our strategy a lot for the V2 launch. That we would rather be delayed by the audit and the bug bounty than to rush the launch and not follow the process through. So our process for V2 contract is to have a double audit done by two very reputable firms, Anastasia Lab and Certic, and have found a few issues, and we have fixed them. And then we open source the contract, and then we let the contract open source for a whole month for everyone to see and work on. And if people see it have a bug bounty, and they have one medium issue and one minor issue, and one is filed by Mika, and another filed by another guy. So yeah, so I think we try to make our launch as secure as we can, and the contract is also non-upgradable, so there's no multi-sig or admin key that can move your fund without your consent.
100%. And just to add on top of that, security is like paramount with not just V2, but the entire Minswap products. You see, like there is this theme within the team. We can launch delayed, we can delay the launch, we can delay like the launch by a lot, but we cannot compromise with security even just a bit. So the process has been like development, then audits, then fixing of the issues from the audits, then another audit, then public testnet, sorry, beta testnet, then public testnet, and meanwhile there is a bug bounty that has run for a whole entire month. So security has always been paramount, and we can never compromise on that. And one another example of that is, remember, like just in this interview, Alon said something about we could do that, but then people would have to trust it, and therefore we did not do it regarding the migration of liquidity because we want users to have that full control. So we could have designed things in a certain way, but we did not because security is the paramount thing with Minswap.
No, I was going to say that's a really good example that you provided there because, as you mentioned, I'm sure it would have been easier for Minswap to say, "Hey, we're just going to move everybody's funds for you guys," right? Because then it's a quick and easy migration to move all the liquidity. But then there comes risks. There comes custody. There's a lot of different things that are at play there. So I think for you guys to say, "Hey, we're actually going to leave it up to the community to do it," themselves. Shows again the fact that like you guys are taking security very seriously and that you guys want to make sure that there's as less of a liability or as least of a liability on Minswap as possible throughout the entire migration process. That said, let's talk about maybe some new features that have been released within V1, right? So there's been the Stableswap feature. I'd love to hear about how that's been received. I know you guys have now started to provide a little bit of an incentive for people to provide stable coins and liquidity there. Stable coins themselves are a completely different conversation, right? But I want to talk about the Stableswap feature. Has there been any upgrades to that? And then I want to close out here by talking about the LBE or the Liquidity Bootstrapping Event Platform V2.
Yeah, so the stable swap it will be nicely integrated into the V2. So if you have used the public testnet, you see that the V2 trading it's like it's very seamless. So you choose like token in, token out, and it will choose the best pool among V1 pool, V2 pools, and stable swap pool. Choose the best. You will select the best pool to choose from, and that's how the stable swap is neatly integrated into the V2 interface. And about the LB V2, there's like we have a team that is actively working on it, and will be released soon after the next V2 launch.
Nice. One thing that I've definitely seen a lot of people using lately has been the LB platform, right? So I know there was the launch for the Smart Places token there, Indigo launched there, Makasi launched there. I think there's a few other projects that all launched using the Minswap LB V2. And for me, it's made the process so simple. And what I love about it is actually the fact that it's fully fair and fully transparent, right? So obviously there's a penalty if you pull out your liquidity after a certain timeline, but the fact that this has been one of the best and one of the most fair ways to launch a token has really, I think, brought Minswap to another level. In addition to that, you guys have your own governance platform, right, where you guys are able to host votes, etc. Has there been any upgrades to the governance portal when it comes to V2?
So the governance portal is the same for V2, but we are going to release the LP governance portal. So that will be
100%.
an addition. So not only the Mint token can vote on like deciding the future of Minswap, but the LP holder, they can vote on deciding the future of their pool, which is deciding the fee of their pool they're going to take.
Ramik, did you want to add something
Exactly.
there?
Yeah, and just to add a little bit more on that, even before V2 or like V2, even before V2 was around the corner, we were like all in with revamping our governance portal. So that will be one of the targets that we have after V2 launches. So far, we are so focused on V2 that we cannot move our focus on that part, but that is in our eyes, and we are gonna do that very soon after V2 launches.
Solid. I'm happy to hear again. I love the fact that the Minswap team has been working alongside all of the Mint token holders and their entire community, right, to get their input, to get their feedback as to the direction of very important things. Most recently, the community coming together to vote for Project Catalyst funding round number 12, right? So I know you guys just recently released a short list of all the projects that the Minswap LP ADA will be used to vote for in Catalyst. And I'm excited to see again that you guys are going about this in a decentralized way to really make that happen. That said, we've talked about quite a bit here. We've talked about the testnet, the mainnet, some of the new features. We've talked about, the migration, etc. I'd love to offer you guys an opportunity to maybe kind of close us out with any final remarks that you guys might have, right? So whether you guys want to highlight throughput, sustainability, composability, extendability, anything that we just haven't gotten an opportunity to talk about, the floor is open for you guys in terms of closing comments.
Yeah,
I
so there.
Go
Okay,
ahead,
sorry.
Long.
Yeah, Ramik, you can talk about it.
Yeah, I was going to start with throughput. As Long already mentioned, throughput compared to V1 with V2 is a lot higher. So to give you a reference point, in V1 the throughput was 3. In V2 the throughput has been increased to 36. Although we'll remain with 30 for now with the launch because there are a lot of things going on, as you know, like liquidity migration and stuff like that. But that can be increased to 36 as per requirements. So that's a massive 10x upgrade in throughput. And that alone makes the speed or makes the transactions way faster than ever before. And speaking of composability, composability you talked about. So uh, we are also building SDK. There are several things ongoing with composability part. So which basically means we are making V2 or V2 is already very much composable or very much integrable with other projects in the ecosystem. So people can come up and integrate with V2 or build on top of V2. And also on that end, there is an SDK coming up for AMM-V2, Stableswap, and LBV2. So composability is really also another thing that we focused. And speaking of sustainability, uh, there are some technical details in here, like the reduced blockchain storage requirements, which basically says 28 GB savings per year. I think Long can go into the technical part of it, in a part of it, but to sum it up for normal users, sustainability has been a core focus of V2 as well, which basically means we will be there. Like this is designed for a long-term vision and not just uh, for like a short-term success of some sort. So we have throughput, speed in mind. We have sustainability in mind, which is long-term growth and vision, and the composability is also there. And speaking for extendability part, there are a lot of things that are going to happen that are going to be brought up in V2 after V2 launch. So there has been a lot of requirement or a lot of request by users and traders alike that I have noticed myself. That there should be a DCA feature, and we might be able to just integrate that. So there's been a lot going on, and V2 is definitely sustainable, extendable. We actually have a lot of plans for extendability part even right now, and composable as well. Long, do you want to add something else?
Yeah, so on V2, we are using the the official Bluetooth V2 Go reference input. So it have like we don't have to duplicate the script on every transaction. We can just deploy the script once and then reference input that script. So that will save a lot of node storage. So it makes the SPO life easier, reduce like keep the node hardware requirement low, and like further like long term help with the decentralization of Cardano. And yeah, we have a lot of composability feature. So we are looking forward to other Dapp integrate with Minswap and like other Dapp compose with Minswap and building a more robust DeFi ecosystem. It's called DeFi 2.0 for a reason, and to build like ecosystem around Minswap. So that is our vision.
Perfect.
Long
Perfect.
on Minswap.
Yeah.
That's the vision.
Long is long on Minswap. No other better
Yeah,
person to be long on
really.
Minswap than Long himself.
100%.
No, I just want to thank you guys both here for joining me as a part of today's interview. Again, congrats first and foremost on building, contributing to such a wonderful and thriving ecosystem. And I wish you all a smooth transition when it comes to the migration and just onboarding into Minswap V2. I know you guys also have some Project Catalyst proposals that are currently out right now, dealing with different SIPs, making integrations of other standards in Cardano a lot more easy or a lot more accessible. And I look forward to hopefully seeing those funded and implemented on the Minswap protocol. That said, that will bring us to the end here for today's interview. Long, I want to thank you again here for your time. Ramik, thank you as well here for your contributions. And I think that will wrap it up here. So that said, for the viewers watching this interview today at home, if you guys found any portion of today's video to be helpful or insightful, if you just learned anything along the way, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up. It's one of the easiest ways to support me here on the channel. And it's also one of the best ways to help this channel or to help this content make it outside and to hit more people outside of the Cardano ecosystem. If you guys want more content like this, breaking down all the builders here within Cardano, consider subscribing to Dapp Central. And last but not least, if you have any questions for myself, Long, or Ramik surrounding Minswap, the V2 version of the protocol, or the liquidity migration, or anything that we've discussed as a part of today's video, then make sure to leave a comment down below. That said, and as always, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It was a really exciting time.
You are welcome.
100% Fareed. You, just for the viewers listening and watching this video, Fareed is the guy. I've heard a lot about him. He's doing great work, so do support him. And the video that you talked about earlier regarding the feature breakdown, the order types breakdown, I watched it. It's fantastic breakdown of all different order types. Lovely. So if you want to check that out, do that. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot us out. We're
No,
24/7 available. And thank you,
thank you.
Fareed, a lot
Thank you.
for having us here.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine. And as Ramik mentioned, links to everything we've discussed down below as a part of today's video description. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that said, we'll see you all later. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.